Ladies and gentlemen, we all know chess is a difficult game, but one of the most satisfying things is finishing a game and chess.com telling you that you got a brilliant move. You have transcended human capability on the 64 squares. In today's video, I'll be showing you a game where I got 4 of these, and they were sensational. Sometimes you have to give yourself a pat on the back. Toot your own horn, if you will. And so I'll be taking you through every move of this game, explaining my thought process. Hopefully you learn a thing or two. Hopefully you're inspired. Hopefully you go play some chess. And hopefully you don't lose all your games, because we do know that is a byproduct of watching a video. You try to go do it yourself. Happens to me too, with other sports and with chess as well. Also, today's thumbnail was inspired by Bogart Guy, who tagged me in a post. And I've been seeing all these incredible compilations of the thumbnails. One of my favorites is like when you show up to a chess tournament and it's actually exactly like how Gotham has in his thumbnails. It's just incredible. Keep at it. Keep going. It's really great stuff. And it's these unexpected compilations and memes and dreams that, that just like keep making it fun to make videos about chess. So I was playing a player from Iceland whose profile picture kind of looked like a bowel movement. But this is a person laying on a bench. Anyway, I started the game with e4. And if you know me at all, you know that against e4, e5, since the beginning of the pandemic, I have been telling people to play the Vienna. If you don't play the Vienna yet, you don't play e4, e5, knight c3, you've never given it a try, you don't know what you're missing. Now, there are different openings that are good in e4, e5. I get it. If you're successful, don't worry. But the Vienna, and in particular, the Vienna gambit with pawn to f4 against knight f6, and if they take, you push and attack the knight. This thing will win you 6, 7 games out of 10. And I did not say that because that's an old meme at this point, all right? If you still are laughing at 6, 7, you are an unk, as the kids say. e4, knight c3, followed by this move f4. Such an effective opening at 99% of the rating ladder. The best move for black is to strike directly back in the center with the move pawn to d5, but then you need to know what you're doing, and chess is ultimately a choice, the way you play in the beginning of the game. My opponent chose to play a little bit more passively to decline the gambit with d6. It's not the best move, but it's a very reasonable move and something you will face quite often. Taking here for white is not very good. It just helps black open the queen, open the bishop. So I play knight f3, and this is the whole idea. And now I will develop this bishop to one of these 2 squares. Then I will play d3, then I will castle. And often this f-pawn will lead a charge into the black position, taking up space, completely removing this bishop from the game, pawn storming, and black gets under a lot of pressure. Knight c6 is a move. And now, the move that I have in my course, and for the record, I have free content on this on YouTube. I highly, highly encourage you after this video, watch a Vienna video if you haven't. Try to play through it for free. I don't require credit cards on my chess website, so you can go check out a trial, go play the Vienna. Bishop b5 is the move that I like here. It's a very nice move because I want to remove the knight completely from the defense of the middle, and then I want to go d3 and castle and finish up that plan. My opponent now decided to take on f4. Reasonable. I have several choices here. As always, you have d3, you have d4. Taking the entire center is totally okay. It's blitz, so I decide to take the knight immediately. It's not the best move, but again, it's blitz. You go for different positions. And then here, rather than playing d4, because I traded my light squared bishop, I decide to play d3 and simply win back the pawn like this. Certainly, if my opponent plays the rest of the game like a machine, like a computer, they will have some advantage. Black has to defend this pawn by jumping the knight out to the edge of the board. Otherwise, I'm just going to win it back quite easily. And that is actually what my opponent did. And this was just about the last time that black had a normal position. The problem is that when you play like this, when you play unprincipled, you don't develop anything, you simply try to hang on to your extra pawn. It's kind of like hanging on a roller coaster. Right, like it doesn't feel particularly safe, except on a chessboard, the rail could break and you could fly off into space and then come crashing back down. And humans are not computers. Computers are very good at defending. They don't have any emotions, whereas I have now castled my king. My queen is going to activate in just a moment's notice when my knight moves. Black has to play quite accurately here, and immediately Black does not play accurately. Black probably needed to develop some pieces with the bishop, something like this. I was already considering bringing my knight back and winning the pawn this way, or playing knight to d4, attacking the knight and attacking this pawn, and Black went g5 and immediately lost the advantage. g5 is supported by the queen. Clearly the opponent was just like, well, if I wall in the white pieces, then I'm going to be just fine. And I went knight d4. Now, funny for me, my opponent actually made a huge mistake here, which I didn't realize, but it's almost a conundrum, because had I realized they made the big mistake, we wouldn't have gotten a game with 4 brilliant moves. So I'm attacking c6, I'm attacking the knight. My opponent did something which looks quite logical. They attacked my knight. They attacked my knight. So my knight is hanging, this knight is hanging. So I thought, okay, if I take the knight and they take me, and I jump my knight into the middle of the board, it looks like I have a strong attack. I have strong queen, strong knight, and then I had little ideas to begin my brilliant barrage. And I won this game like an anime. Like, really, this game was won. I pulverized the opponent. The best move for white, though, is to play this very surgical move. And the point of knight c6 is that I attack the queen, which now has to move, and then after this trade of knights, I also win this pawn, and I have a very comfortable advantage. But we don't need any comfortable advantage. I take the knight, they take my knight attacking me here, and I play the move knight to d5. And Black has one chance to survive what's coming. Okay? Black here has to play bishop g7 and prepare castling. And to be fair, if Black played bishop g7, I was ready to sacrifice the house. I was going to go h4, take, etc. But Black went here. Black attacked my knight. And it looks like I'm trapped. It looks like I've lost the game because my knight has to retreat this way. It's the only safe move. If you just look at this position with no evaluation, I turn off the bar. Well, the knight's hanging, right? I mean, it has to go here. Some of you might think, oh, I'm going to take on f4, sacrifice my knight, and then I'm going to be threatening checkmate. Or you can be me, and I present to you brilliant move number 1, bishop takes f4. Why with the bishop? The knight is hanging. Why would you have a bishop hanging too? Here's the idea. If pawn takes f4 is played, I play rook f4, and I threaten mate, but it's not just mate that I'm threatening. I am also threatening knight to f6 whenever I want it, and the king is going to have to walk forward directly into the attack of the queen and the knight. I also have rook f1 with a barrage incoming on f7 with my queen and my 2 rooks. So brilliant move number 1, my knight is hanging, so what do? I sacrifice my bishop, obviously. My opponent in the game took my knight. So now I've lost a very powerful attacking piece, and I still have a bishop hanging. Now, bishop here, it's I can take on g5 and so on, and I don't want to lose all of my material. But bishop e5, brilliant move number 2. The bishop hangs completely. The rook is under attack. Mate is threatened. But it's actually a little bit funnier than that. So I'm going to win the rook back, and I'm going to just be up material, right? Queen c7, my opponent goes to defend f7. I take the rook. My opponent takes on e4. Now let's just pause here. This is a very weird position, very non-standard. Both of us have a queen. Both of us have a rook. Both of us have a dark squared bishop. I have an extra rook. Black has an extra light squared bishop. And let's count the pawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a bishop and a pawn for a rook. It's not like I'm up 10 points of material and I'm totally winning. We still have to be precise. If Black gets a few moves like developing the bishop, maybe even pushing the pawn, defending their center, castling, Black is going to be okay. So at this point, I decide I'm not going to take a pawn. I'm not going to take a pawn. I need to activate a piece that has not yet moved. And I have the time to do that. Rook e1. The only piece that was passive. The rooks are standing next to each other on the files, pressuring E, pressuring F. Black's king is still in the middle, so we're going to continue to attack it. The bishop goes to E6. Now, a very important moment. I can take on E4. I can take on H7. I can even take on D4. But I played something, in my opinion, even better. All these pawns are hanging, but what does Black want? You got to ask yourself this question in your chess games. What does my opponent want? My opponent wants to castle. It will be such a sigh of relief if the opponent can get the king out of the middle. How do we stop that? Bring back our passive bishop and cut the square. Now bishop is covering d8. The king cannot castle through a check. So now the king is going to be stuck with me. My opponent rolls the dice here, jumps in with the queen taking a pawn. Again, for a 2,900 rated player like myself and my opponent, we both know this is a very dangerous position for black. But if you're like 1,500, I mean, if you don't win soon, black is going to eat all the pawns and try to promote. So now we have to play the best move. We played the best move, rook e4, with the threat to take the bishop because of the pin on the king. The king goes here, and I present to you brilliant move number 3. It would not be a GothamChess video if we did not sacrifice. Drew the sword, just like the character on screen. The rook! Rook takes e6. Okay. How on earth do you even develop the sense to play the move rook takes bishop? That looks extremely well protected. How do we do that? Of course, you can just eat pawns here, and there are 2 ways to win a winning position. Chapter 7 of How to Win at Chess Next Level comes out October 6, 2026. 2 ways to win a winning position. Crash through with an attack, simplify to an endgame. Look, of course, if I traded the queens here, I'd probably win a long endgame. But rook e6 is vicious because my queen now gets to f7. If the king takes, my queen gets to g4, and then e4, and then d4, and I'm going to get all of these attacks going on the king. So my opponent takes like this, and all I calculated was queen f7 check, king to c6, and I just take the pawn. And we pause here again. The material is even. It's queen, rook, bishop, and 5 pawns each. But the 2 most important things in chess are material and king safety. And at the moment, it's +6 for white due to the horrendous positioning of this king. Wide open, living in a house where walls were not complete and yet somehow it was sold. Let me just turn this off a little bit because it kills the mystique a bit. My opponent plays queen takes d3. The game is not finished. I still have to win. How? Rook c1 check could not be more of a natural move. I play rook c1 check. My opponent goes king b6. Now, how do I win this position? How do I win this? Every brilliant game has a brilliant touch. I've covered games of Mikhail Tal, right? I've covered games by Nishmadinov, great players. Every brilliant game has a moment. You have to play something that is very sophisticated. A lot of people here would screw everything up. For example, do you know what black wants? I know what you want. You want to give some sort of checkmate and you want to win. What does black want? Black wants to play queen e3 check. So you know what the best move in the position is? King h1. In the middle of this typhoon that we have sent to the way of the black king, we have time to get out of the way of this attack. And that will allow us to slowly inch forward this way. My opponent here played queen e3 anyway. And originally, my intention had been, oh, my rook is under target, my queen is under target, what do I do? The position is +7. If we trade the queens, the position is barely above 0. And that is the most instructive moment of this game. You cannot be so quick to trade the pieces. You have to be 100% sure. And now I present to you brilliant move number 4. And this was the beginning of the end. I really wanted to play queen c4, a little bit of a slower move, trying to go for c6. And I calculated, queen c4 defending here, and then I'm going to go for check. I couldn't quite see the checkmate. So I played bishop takes d4, sacrificing yet another piece. And when the queen took, I gained access to the b3 square, and the queen took its pressure off of my rook. So queen to b3, king a5. But now what? My intention had been rook c4, with the idea to play rook a4. That might be possible. That might do it. Rook c4. Rook c4, there are various checkmate threat ideas. One thing that I thought was a good defense here was rook b8. I thought this was possible, but I totally forgot. I can give it, and if the point is, of course, if I take, then they take. Rook c4 and the move that I played have the same idea. Rook to d1. Rook d1 attacks the queen, defended by my queen, and rook d5 is a check. So if my opponent brings the queen here or here, I'm going to play rook d5. If queen b6, we have check, and I'm going to pick up at least the rook, and then we're going to cruise to the victory. So my opponent went rook e8. Very nice final trick. Even this defensive trick deserves a lot of credit. A lot of credit. If I take the queen, this is just a back rank checkmate. I want you to come up with defensive things like this. Look at this. Activating a rook, and it's not just like, well, if they take, then there's this. It's also just like, this is a huge improvement of the rook compared to where it was standing. And also, this is no longer a fork that would win me a rook. Unfortunately for me, rather, unfortunately for the opponent, I can just play the move h3. And now you have all the same problems, except my king is not ever getting back rank checkmated. And now we finish the game with surgical precision. The queen goes back to b6. We play the only move, rook to d5. The king has to go to a6. And now we play queen a4 check. And this is at minimum winning a rook. And at maximum, we can also win the queen. So I took the rook. The bishop is hanging. Rook b5 is a threat. And that is how the game concluded. My opponent went bishop g7, rook to b5, winning the queen, defended by my queen defending my rook, and my opponent resigned. Brilliant move number one. Bishop takes f4. A knight is hanging, a bishop gives itself away, and I really feel like this attacking sense needs to be developed. Move 12, everything in black's position hasn't gotten off the last rank. It is looking like, oh, my knight is hanging, I have to move it to safety. No. I have a queen pointed at here. I have a bishop, a rook, pawn. You have to look through pieces as you want to take your chess to the next level. Name of the next book. But knight takes f4 would have been simple, but the problem with this rook takes f4 is there's nothing deeper here, and this would have been the end. The idea here is that there's always the knight coming to f6 if I need it, something like this, and the queen is coming to g5, and black is always stuck in the center, and obviously the attack was vicious, and this, the chef's kiss, removing the light square defender, hunting the king across the board, the cool, calm, and collected sliding over to the edge of the board, sacking the bishop to activate the queen, and this, conclusion to the game. And there you go. That's how I got 4 brilliant moves in a game recently. And hopefully you enjoyed the video. Try the Vienna. I'll see you in the next one. Get out of here.